down the left field line. It is gone!
Live from the downtown Carmi studio, it's the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Live on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, and online worldwide at WRUL.com. Good morning, sports fans, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Sports Show here on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY AM 1460. Cole Carter alongside Travis Black, J.C. Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. The sports show is brought to you by Rice Motor Company, Cherry Street Automotive, Citizens National Bank, Nancy Winters CPA, First Mid Bank and Trust, Hale Body Shop, Roark Transport, Farrell Hospital, Little Giant Grocery Outlet, Jordan Funeral Group, Wabash Christian Therapy, Bush & Associates CPAs, Taylor Eye Care, People's National Bank, Hamilton Memorial Hospital, Rush Appliance, Wabash General Hospital, Boomtown Solar Energy, First Bank, and Carmi Lumber. Well, the Carmi White County Bulldogs took down Fairfield last night to wrap up the regular season. 54-33 was the final score. It was a tie game at halftime, 25 apiece, and the Bulldogs outscored the Mules 29-8 in the second half. And Travis, I think anybody watching, I wouldn't say Carmi played bad by any means last night. I do think it being senior night, and as a player, when it's your senior night, you're out of your rhythm a little bit, you're out of your technique, and it takes a few minutes to get kind of it focused in on the game. And I think in the second half, when Carmi came back to life, they played one of their best second halves of the whole season.
Yeah, with senior night festivities, how great they are, and it brings up a lot of emotion, and also kind of throws off your rhythm because you're used to starting at this time. You're used to starting to warm up a couple minutes before the game. I mean, you still had it. You still had your normal kind of warm up, but it was a little delayed. A lot of emotions in the air, a lot of energy in the building. You can kind of feel it. And early on in the game, Carmi didn't play bad. They had a couple turnovers early, and they were really just being very careless with the basketball, but they kind of settled down from there, and then Fairfield just did what Fairfield does. They hold on to the basketball, and they do a great job of it, where they can make you play defense for a minute and a half, 2 minutes at a time, and really work for the best shot available. And they hit a couple shots early. But in that second half, Carmi came out and turned their defense into offense, getting a lot of deflections, getting a lot of runouts, forcing a lot of missed shots, getting the rebound going the other end, scoring as fast as possible. And that's the Carmi team we've seen all year, and that's the Carmi team we need to see in this regional time to be able to make it where they want to be.
We've said it pretty much all three times Carmi has played Fairfield that the Mules want to play a certain style of basketball, as you mentioned, Travis. We saw back on Tuesday, Carmi played Lawrenceville, and Lawrenceville is like the old Phoenix Suns, as you compared them back in the day, where it's first one pass half court, one, maybe two passes, chuck up a three-point shot. And Carmi was able to keep pace with Lawrenceville, and there's a good chance if we win today and get to Wednesday against Vienna, it's going to be a very similar play style. But then you come back 3 days later and play a Fairfield team that wants to slow the ball down, almost hang on to the basketball, pass it around. And I thought they were shooting a lot of three-point shots last night as well. Fairfield was. But it just shows that Carmi, the way they've gone throughout the season, the different teams they've played, they can match pretty much any style that they've had thrown at them this season.
Yeah, that's just because of their talent. They're so talented, and they can play fast, they can play slow. And it all depends on their defense and putting together four quarters. We talked about it. When they're engaged on that defensive end, when they went on that 12-game win streak after the AHT really is when the season kind of started for them. Defensively, they played so well, it forced other teams to conform to Carmi's style. Teams they want to slow the ball down. Well, Carmi can lock you up for 2 minutes at a time, and if they miss a shot, get the rebound, go the other end, and score. And then when you Carmi gets about the 8 to 10 point lead, third, fourth quarter, that team that wants to slow it down has to start pressing like Fairfield last night. When you're down, you can't really hold on to the basketball for too long because you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're giving yourself less attempts at the basket, right? So Carmi, if they can continue to play defense like we know they can, they're going to be scary for any team in this regional. Vienna is going to be a tough matchup. They like to get up and down like Carmi likes to get up and down. It'll probably be, the game will look like that Lawrenceville game from last Tuesday night where, a couple passes, three-pointer, couple passes, go on the other end, three-pointer, and just, 7 seconds or less on both ends of the court on offense. So we'll just see how it goes. Carmi's got to take care of business today, and then we'll worry about next week.
This second half of the season, after the EHT, Carmi has gone 16-1. Their only loss was last Tuesday at El Dorado. But since then, Travis, this has been a different team than what we saw back in December and even November. Early in the year, they were beating some bad teams. We can say that, beating some bad teams, and had that tough loss to Benton. They're at Benton, then they go to the EHT and lose a couple of games they probably should have won. But then whatever it was after the new year coming into 2023, in the games they've played, they beat a couple of really good teams, including that Lawrenceville team as we mentioned, winning the CIT, beating Mount Carmel, and a lot of that has to do with the way they've played defensively. During the EHT, every game they played, they let at least one player score 20-plus points, and that's only happened a handful of times since then, since that tournament. But it starts on the defensive end. When you got all the talent in the world, we know Edwards can shoot, we know Bryce can dunk, we know Gavin can shoot, and all these guys, but that's on the offensive end. You've got to win games on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and that's what the key to coming in this season would be. They know they can score. They're going to make shots. They're too talented not to. They might not make some early in the first half, second half. That's why you see these spurts where they come out a little cold, and then the second half they'll start making it. But it really depends on that defense. That is their linchpin. If they can play defense, if they can force turnovers, if they can force a lot of bad shots, use their length, use their athleticism to their advantage. I mean, a lot of their runs this season, when they've struggled early on, has been because of their defense. When they when they force turnovers, when they force bad shot attempts, get to go on the other end, get on the fast break, get out and run, and that's when they're at their best. And I mean, we can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but if this Carmi team can play defense like we've seen throughout this year, sometimes they kind of leave that at home in the first half, and then they bring it out in the second half. They forget it in the locker room, or sometimes they just leave it at home for the whole game and we're in a shootout. But if they can just play defense like we know they're capable of, they're going to be a tough team for anybody to match up with in this regional and here going forward.
Well, on Tuesday, Travis, during that Lawrenceville game, I asked you, two 23-win teams going at it, lighting the scoreboard up. I said, Travis, what else could you ask for? And your answer?
Defense.
Defense. We could get some defense. Last night, Carmi was led in scoring by Landon Driscoll, who had 14 points. Tyler Gomat had 10. Gavin Holloman had 12. Bryce Connor with 9. And Mitchell Edwards with 8. Again, the Bulldogs finished the regular season 25-5. They are BDC champs with an overall conference record of 9-1. And for the first time since the 1986-1987 season, the Bulldogs are a perfect 14-0 at home. We had a couple. I put it on the WRUL Facebook page. Had a couple people guess. When was the last time Carmi went the whole year without losing a home game? A lot of guesses for that great '99 team. They actually lost. I think it was one game during the CIT. Same with I think the '97 team lost one game during the CIT. But 1986 they went undefeated all the way to the regional championship and lost. But for the first time, and how many years is that, Travis? 37 years.
Oh,
since 86, 87, 37 years.
It'd be 37
36, 30. Yeah, I'm not good at math. Anyway, since a long time, Carmi has had a perfect season at home. Really just shows this has been a historic season for Carmi, and hopefully they can keep it up as the regionals begin today. Well, Kevin Wolf, I'll make fun of him a little bit. He was a little emotional last night. Didn't want to come up and talk to us, so he sent his 3 seniors up to chat with us after the game, and here is what they had to say after Carmi took down Fairfield 54-33.
Been being joined by Tanner Spence. And Tanner, you hadn't played basketball all year long. You decided to come out this year. What led you to want to come out and join the team for your senior year?
I've always wanted to play basketball. I've kind of missed it since junior high. But Gomer always invited me to come play with him. I could hang around with him a little bit. So, I just decided to come out for my senior year.
Well, and I hear your hoops at Shaw game is pretty good. Was that kind of motivation behind it as well?
My hoops at Shaw game got me prepared for the season.
Well, Tanner, obviously you've been funny about the whole thing. That's hard to come in 1 year and get some minutes, but you've done what you can. But how cool was it tonight to be in the starter lineup, hear your name called, and even have a little play ran for you, which you missed an open opportunity, by the way.
I missed an open opportunity, and I can't believe I choked both the free throws. But it's been fun. I'm glad I got the opportunity tonight, but honestly, I've just had fun all season sitting on the bench and cheering on my teammates.
And, how much fun is it to see these two guys that you've grown up with just to be a part of a successful team that's won 25 games this year, and it's going to be in the record books for years to come.
It's been awesome. Since junior high, I've watched both these guys play, and I knew that they were going to be something special their senior year, and I knew we were going to be pretty good.
So we know here in a couple of weeks you're going to start your real sport. Track season is where you shine. Didn't get to hear it earlier tonight, but kind of what's your plans after graduation in May? And I know you got an athletic and academic future hopefully coming.
I haven't decided whether I'm going to continue my athletic career or not, but I do know that I'm going to study exercise science and hopefully get a doctorate in physical therapy.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Tanner Spence. Now being joined by Tyler Take Charge Gomat. Now, was the stat that you said earlier today correct? 20 out of the 21 charges, well, I guess now it would be 23 out of the 24, whatever, taken by you. Is that true?
Yes.
Do you have that written, printed copy in the stat sheet, or
I mean,
is that by word of mouth?
I'm trusting Huddle as much as possible, That's what it's saying. But
what does this season mean for you, Tyler, given last year and this guy getting hurt, you guys having a rough season, only winning 9 games, just to come back this year, everybody being back, and you guys being this successful?
I mean, it means everything to me, It's great to have Bryce back. I mean, such a threat on both offensive and defensive side, and to have players like Mitchell and Gavin who got some experience last year, and they were young last year. They still are, but they blossomed this year, and they took over on games when we really needed them. And Driscoll, I mean, he got better, and we really like to see that. But I mean, it means a lot knowing how last year went. This year, I mean, it was you didn't know what was going to come up, and everything was unexpected.
The way you play, you really take pride in things that aren't about scoring the basketball. You obviously taking charges, you've taken 1,000 of them, but just playing hard defense, passing the basketball. How did you kind of develop that style of play? Because a lot of guys had the ball in their hands, they want to score, but for you, it's about everything else, and that's why I think a lot of fans have really gone to like you as that kind of play style. Kind of how did that come about?
Since I was younger, I honestly, and I've talked to my parents about this multiple times, I've looked at it as if Bryce can take care of the offensive side, I'll take care of the defensive side. And, it's just I take pride in any way to help the team win. If I'm scoring, that's great. If I'm not scoring and everybody else is, just electric, that's great too. I'm all about the win. I can care less if I have 5 points or 50 points. And I know there's players on our team who are fundamentally and just way better at scoring. And, I'm not too worried about, okay, I didn't get mine tonight, so now it don't matter to me how I did. I take a lot of pride, like you said, in the defensive side and just getting people open shots because I look for the win, not the individual stats.
I'm sure growing up, your dad has been your ear about, he was in the 99 team, that great team that went to state, but, how cool is it? That was the last time we won the CIT, and then winning it again this year. You guys are now in third place in terms of wins in a single season, but how cool was it to know that he was a part of that successful team, and here you guys are, here you are as a senior being on this successful team this year?
It's just I've thought about, honestly, this year and the chance to win a CIT and be like their team, for years, I've looked up to my dad for years and always learned about the 99 team, Bulldogs will shine in 99. That's what I've heard for years. But it's such a different feeling knowing that your parent was a part of something big in your own school, and then when you get to experience almost the same level, it's just you feel like you're living up to a hype almost, and it's just a great feeling.
Well, graduation will be here before you know it. What's your plans after May, Tyler?
I'm definitely going to pursue basketball. I will also pursue business administration and interior design. Where that is exactly, not sure. Still trying to figure that out. Got a regional championship to win first, but for right now it's all undecided, but I can't wait to see what the future holds for me.
All right, thanks for your time, Tyler. Congratulations. It's Tyler Gomat, now being joined by the third and final senior, Mr. Bryce Connor. And Bryce, first and foremost, I feel like I can't even explain how does this feel to you, even not just a CIT or whatever it may be, this whole season in general, but given what happened to your left arm last year, and now you're standing in this spot right now.
It's kind of like surreal to me because it's just like, all through like Carmi, we've won small things, but now we won the conference, we won the CIT, we're starting to, I don't know, I feel like I've never really won stuff like that, you know what I mean? And it's just, after what happened last year, I worked hard all summer try and get back to better than I was last year. And I feel like all the work's paid off, and now the team's playing good together, and we've got it rolling.
This is really your first full season, because your sophomore year, COVID happens, and then your injury last year. How nice has it been to be able to play 30 games this season and not have anything hold you back?
Yeah.
Besides fouls, that is.
Yeah. My knees hurt a little bit more than they did last year sitting on the bench. So it's just, I don't know. I love basketball, so as much as I can play it, it's good.
This is all fun. Winning a conference title is great. Winning the CIT is great, but I think everybody in this gym knows the job's not done. You guys have a big task coming up starting tomorrow. Kind of what's the mindset going in with regionals beginning tomorrow afternoon?
I think that we have to – we've beat them before, but we can't come out thinking that we've beat them already and that we're going to have it won. We got to come out and starts on the defensive end. Starts at 10 in the morning tomorrow when we come to practice, and I don't know. I think we'll do good.
All right, what's been your favorite dunk of the year? I got to ask.
I like the reverse at El Dorado.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was probably my favorite one.
Bryce, graduation coming up here in a couple of months. What's your plans for graduation?
I plan to go play basketball somewhere, and I haven't fully decided where I want to go, but I think that God has a plan for me, and I'll figure that out.
All right, thanks for your time, Bryce. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so that was the three seniors last night: Tanner Spence, Tyler Gomat, and Bryce Connor, after Carmi defeated Fairfield 54-33 to end the regular season with a record of 25-5, 9-1 of the conference champs, and a perfect 14-0 at home for the first time since 1987. Other scores from around the area last night, and again, a lot of teams played on Thursday, so we'll go over those scores here in a minute as well. In the GEC last night, Crab Orchard over Hardin County 80-65, Carrier Mills over Galatia 51-46, NCOE over Thompsonville 58-39. And non-conference play, nothing really relevant to around here because a lot of teams played on Thursday. So looking at the scores from Thursday night in the BDC, nobody in the BDC East played each other, but in the BDC West, it was Goreville over Trico 67-51, Cesar-Valero over Johnson City 70-59. In the Midland Trail Conference, Weber over Sisney 67-49. And in the River to River, Carterville over Pinckneyville 70-58. Lions finished the conference season undefeated 8-0. And the Ohio side of the River to River, Heron 45, Harrisburg 34, Massac County 84, West Frankfort 54. And in that game, Isaac Hossman, a school record 39 points in that win for Massac County. Murfreesboro over Benton 65-59. In non-conference play, Vienna over Hamilton County 78-53. Mount Carmel over Red Hill 67-49. And T-Town over Alney 53-23. Dietrich over Grayville 79-50. That's about all of our relevant high school scores from the past couple of nights, wrapping up the regular season, which brings us to where we are today as the IHSA Regionals begin today. For a lot of teams, those that were not top four seeds in their subsectional will begin play today, which does not make sense to me. So the regionals are today, Wednesday, and Friday. Mm-hmm. So 90% of the teams, when they got these seeds, were scheduled to play games last night. And for Carmi, they couldn't move that game back to Thursday because there was a girls' regional taking place in Carmi on Thursday. So you're making teams play back-to-back games when they're not going to play again until Wednesday. Granted, you're going to get some rest then, but for the longest time, Travis, it was always Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the same regional spot, but no one's listening that can make a difference about that. So anyway, in the Pinckneyville sectional, which is where Carmi is playing, they are the 6th seed. They will host Anna Jonesboro today at 3 o'clock. Winner goes on to take Vienna on Wednesday. Wednesday night in Harrisburg at 7:30. The other side of that regional, El Dorado takes on Harrisburg tonight in El Dorado. Winner takes on Carterville. That's an interesting game. Harrisburg and El Dorado. Harrisburg has had a rough start to the year, but they played better as the season has gone on. El Dorado now is fully healthy. That should be a good game, and I think whoever wins that game can give Carterville a run for their money.
Yeah, both those teams were on a hot streak there for a while, and El Dorado's finally fully healthy, and we saw them last Tuesday night and they're a good team when they're fully healthy, and they got a lot of good players, and that Harrisburg team's got Cameron Andy, so that's really all they need in terms of scoring, because he can get you 30 at the drop of a hat, and they're a well-coached team as well, so that's going to be a really good game. Carterville is going to be moving to 3A next year, so I mean they are a bigger school. Aren't they the biggest school in 2A?
Definitely in our subsection.
I know they are in the subsection, but I'm pretty sure they're biggest school in 2A. They're moving to 3A next year, and that's going to be a tough game. They go about 7-8 deep, and they like to play a very fast-paced game, a river-to-river style game, not so much a Black Diamond Conference style game. But yeah, those are going to be two good games, and it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out of that side of the regional.
The other top of the subsectional, these are the games being played in Benton next week. Massac County, the 1 seed, they have a bye. In Benton, the 4 seed, they have a bye. Murfreesboro will take on West Frankfort today at 1 o'clock in Murphy. And then Johnson City will host Hamilton County tonight at 6 p.m. The J.C. Hamco winner will take on Massac County. The Murfreesboro West Frankfort winner will take on Benton. Both those games also on Wednesday. But Travis, we made the point last week, given Carmi subsectional, I've told people, do you think Carmi got a good draw? Do you think Carmi's got a chance? I think Carmi got a great draw. Given the subsectional, I'm not sure how they determine what teams are in certain subsectionals, but in my eyes and in my opinion, if you look at the 12 teams in that subsectional, I think 5 of those teams are probably top 10 teams in Southern Illinois, if not more. I mean, Carmi, 25-5, they're the 6th seed. So I think it goes to show the talented teams in here. And I told you, Travis, off air, I wanted to stay away from Massac County and stay away from Benton at Benton. And Carmi did both those things. They're not going to see them. If they do see either of those two teams, it wouldn't be until the sectional championship down the road. But you're going to play a Vienna. If you beat AJ today, which Carmi has beaten AJ once this year, and I think if they play the game they can play, they should win today. But if they beat AJ, you're going to play a Vienna team that's a lot similar to what you saw on Tuesday against Lawrenceville. Vienna hasn't played their best ball of late. They still have only lost 3 games in the season, but a couple of close games to some teams that records aren't there, including Anna Jonesboro. Given the subsectional and the other teams in there, Carmi has a winnable path to possibly win a regional crown next week.
Yeah, we've talked about it for ever since we saw the subsectional this year. This subsectional and all the teams in it. I mean, they're top 25 teams in 2A this year in the state, top 10 in Southern Illinois. We've talked about it. I mean, it's like the 1927 Yankees lineup. It's just murderer's row out there. But Carmi got a pretty good draw. Again, Vienna, very similar to what we faced on Tuesday, like you said, against Lawrenceville. They like to get up and down. They got 2 guys who can go get them 30 at the drop of a hat, Charlie King and Owen Treat. And it's going to be a tough matchup for Carmi, but we've talked about it. Defense is the key, and if they can slow down those two, or at least keep one, if you can keep one of them in check, and if one gets 20, but you keep the other one 12, you're gonna have a great shot at pulling off the upset in terms of seeding position. But it's gonna be a good game on Wednesday, or is it Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. Okay, yeah, we were talking about Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You got me confused. But you got to take care of business
I was gonna
today.
say, you got to win today first.
You do have to win today first. AJ, you beat them by 2 in the EHT, and that was probably one of your worst games. And I mean, they were winning by double digits there for a while. And
it was a 15-point game in the second half.
Yeah, Carmi came back and chased them down, and that was before they really flipped the switch on the season from the new year.
A different team.
Different team now, 100%. They flipped the switch. What were they, 16-1 on the second half of the year there? Yeah. So it's a different team than what you were back then, but that can also apply for them. They're a different team than what you've seen. But if Carmi plays how we know they can today, they should take care of business.
So again, the Bulldogs will take on the Wildcats today at 3 p.m. If you can't make it, we'll have the action for you here on WRUL as well as the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. Real quick, looking at the 1A postseason bracket. Again, they'll begin play today. The Gallatin County sectional will host pretty much all of the area teams that are in 1A. Crab Orchard being the top seed in their subsectional. They'll play Carrier Mills today at 1 o'clock. Gallatin County will host Hardin County tonight at 6. NCOE will host Joppa tonight at 6. And it looks like Golconda, or Pope County, will host Galatia tonight at 6 p.m. Grayville is going to be playing at Cesar-Valier tonight at 6:30. Edwards County will go to Waltonville tonight at 7. Wayne City will host Elkville tonight at 5. And I think that is all of the immediate area teams that are in action in 1A today in regional play. So postseason basketball, At this point, it's win or go home. It's the best time of the year, I believe, late February, early March, as postseason basketball gets underway. We'll take our first break of the day. When we come back, we will recap the Lady Bulldog season as their campaign came to an end earlier this week. Back here shortly on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY, AM 1460. Cole Carter and Travis Black with you. JC Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. We'll now take a minute to recap the Carmi County girls basketball season that came to an end back on Monday when they fell to Teopolis. 48-34 was the final score. Lady Bulldogs in the season with a record of 10-20 overall. And Travis, that alone, the record being 10-20, we mentioned it last week during the show, and we've really said it all season long. This Lady Bulldog basketball team was we thought so much better than what their record showed. A lot of close losses, but really they were a much better team at the end of the year than they were at the beginning of the year. Yeah, that cannot be understated. At the beginning of the year, it was a struggle. Only one returning player with any type of varsity experience, major varsity experience, not just a couple minutes in garbage time, but I mean, they improved every single game. You just could see it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I mean, I saw their first game, and it was not pretty against North Posey, and if that team would have rematched them at the end of the year, I think it would have been probably a blowout. Yeah. It'd been close to it, if it not 4 or 5 point game difference. I mean, this team got so much better throughout the year, and they were young, and they knew it was going to be a struggle early on, but they just kept working, and you could just see it throughout the year how much they improved. Their half-court offense for a while there was really bad, just being stagnant, what have you. But then they started learning how to run their half-court offense, getting better. Had trouble with the press early on, and then they would be turning the ball over a lot. Then they figured it out. They would never really turn the ball over against the press towards the end of the year. Yeah. Most of their problems was just in the half court being a little over aggressive on some certain situations. So this team, it really impressed throughout the year. A lot of good freshmen, some good sophomores, good juniors, and those seniors worked their tails off, and they really had the senior leadership, and I think that's going to help them and set them up for the next 3 years here. And the three seniors, Lily Pollard, Shemaine Lovell, and Ebony Hopkins, as the season went on, those three, their main job was not to score the basketball. Their main job was not to score 20 points a game and to win these games for Carmi. But what they did, I thought, so well this season, and Clinton Wolf told us many times throughout the year, was, you mentioned the senior leadership. We talked about how last week Lily Pollard, every single loose ball, she's diving into the bleachers head first and getting these loose balls, and Shemaine and Ebony as well. They wanted to do what they could, being seniors, to win the game, and it was so nice to watch them kind of get that recognition last week with senior night, and then the regional games at home on Saturday and Monday, and it was tough for Clinton Wolf to watch those three leave as their careers came to an end. Yeah, he was very upset about it. I mean, anyone would be, just any seniors. They've given you this much time. I mean, Lily and Ebony were really great on defense. They were there to get rebounds, play hard defense, and you said it. Lily seems like she's always on the floor, whether diving for loose balls or somehow taking a charge, getting knocked to the floor. But I mean, that's just type of senior leadership you need, sacrificing your body for the betterment of the team. And Shemaine would not get as much playing time as she would like, and Coach Wolf even talked about it. But when she got in the game, though, she was making
called
plays.
A microwave.
Yeah, she was. She's a microwave. Heated up in 2 minutes or less. I mean, she gets you 8 points in 3 minutes, and you look up and like, wow, where'd that come from? And she did a good job at making plays for other people. When kind of offense got stagnant, you could throw her in there, and she could make something happen, and it'd always be positive, whether it be a shot for her or a shot for somebody else. And he did a good job. And she's only about 5'8", and she had to guard some bigger post people, and sometimes she'd get manhandled down there, and other times she'd be doing the manhandling, and she would still give best effort every single night. So that's the type of senior leadership you need to show the younger girls what they need to be doing, what type of effort they need to bring, what type of attitude, what type of preparation for the game, and understanding what you have to do and understanding your role. You're not all going to be scoring 20 points a game, because if so, the games would be 200 to
200. So you got to learn what role fits you best, what skills you have, and what you bring to the table. And I think those three did a good job at setting an example for the next 3 to 4 years here of Carmi White County Lady Bulldog basketball. And it's going to be a good next 3 years because that JV team is good, and a lot of underclassmen here are really exciting in terms of their talent.
And that was my next point. You look at what's coming back for Carmi next year. Mara Serafini, the leading scorer, she was only a junior. She's coming back next year for a senior season, being the go-to gal, and some youngsters behind her. The other starters, Ashlyn Rager being a sophomore. She was in and out of the lineup throughout the year. Same with Caroline Simmons being a freshman. That freshman crew was very successful at the junior high level, and even the JV team this year was very successful. So there's no question. You give Clinton Wolf a full summer outside the football practices to work with these girls to get ready for the season. I think Carmi, and also I think a lot of the fact that the record was where it was the conference was very talented this year. A lot of teams, kind of how Carmi is going to be in the next couple of years, a big senior class when they get there. A lot of teams had a lot of seniors that had a lot of experience, and they're facing multiple 20-plus win teams throughout the season. Edwards County, Hamilton County, Fairfield, and El Dorado as well, all won 18 to 20 games throughout the season in the BDC alone. That was Carmi's conference alone, and even Flora, they were also very good. But I think given that experience, and they've experienced both the winning side of things and the losing side of things, you get these younger girls up there to be juniors and seniors. They're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and we talked about how they were losing a lot of close games in the year, 4 or 5 point games, and that's good for those younger girls to get that experience of being in those close, tight basketball games, because when you get into postseason basketball, it's going to be a lot of very close games. There's not going to be many blowouts because most of the time the talent's pretty much even, and you go from there. So those are the type of games they're going to need to learn how to win, and I think they will. But being in those, last 8 to 10 games they were in. Outside the 2 regional games, they were all basically single digits.
Yeah. Well, even that regional game against T-Town, I think Carmi trailed by 15 at the half.
Yeah, and they won by a point.
And lost by 14. So they won the second half by a point.
And that first half was really bad. Just offensive rebounds and turnovers was what really killed them. But they're going to learn from that. They're going to be ready for next year. But that experience of being in those close single 2 possession games is really going to help them here moving forward. And once they learn how to win those games, it's only going to take one game where you win a close game, and then you understand what you need to do to be able to win those games, and it's going to be a good couple years here for Carmi girls basketball.
T-Town, the team that beat Carmi back on Monday, went on to win the Carmi Regional, defeating Mount Carmel on Thursday by a final of 45-25. Looking at other girls' regionals from around the area, in 1A, Edwards County won the Steelville Regional, defeating Marissa Coulterville 55-21. In the Pope County Regional, it was Pope County defeating Gallatin County 50-46 there in the championship. Let's see, trying to find some other close ones. In the Harrisburg 2A regional, it was Benton defeating Harrisburg 42-35 there in the regional championship. And then the Flora regional, Robinson over Newton 58-41. And then there was a couple games on last night. I'm not sure if any area teams were involved. In the Weber 1A regional, Christopher over Woodlawn 35-27. And then in a Massac County Regional, Massac County defeated Carterville 57-33. And so girls basketball regionals are over with. They'll begin sectionals next week. So best of luck to all the area girls basketball teams that are in sectional play throughout the next 4 or 5 or so days. We'll take our second break of the day. When we come back, we will get into our Terrible 10 Pick'em with our national sports segment right here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Final segment here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY AM 1460. Cole Carter and Travis Black with you. JC Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. And again, later on today at 3 o'clock, the Carmi White County Bulldogs begin regional play as they host the Anna Jonesboro Wildcats at McDougall Everett Gymnasium. If you can't go, we'll have all the action for you here on WRUL as well as the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. Again, that's today at 3 o'clock. So moving on to our national sports segment. Last week, Travis, I beat you again. Haha. No music today, but I beat you 7-3. Travis went 5-5. And then in the total standings, I'll be honest. You don't have to say anything. I messed up. Somewhere along the line, you only had 89 games totaled. I had 88. So, to make things even, I gave you a loss and gave me a win.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Well, you also gave me 2 losses there.
Yeah,
on
that
the
should
paper.
just be one. So
And there we
Travis
go.
overall is 57-33. I am 49-41 because that equals out to 9. We've done this for 9 weeks. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. I'm a good friend.
Oh, giving yourself a couple extra wins.
So that's what we're gonna go with.
It's your fault that you don't have the count right.
It's my fault for everything. Anyway, so all right, let's go into our terrible 10 picks for this week. We've got 5 college basketball games, the NBA All-Star game, as well as the XFL that begins today. So football fans like myself, we don't have to worry about going without football for the next couple of weeks. So we will start with college hoops. Illinois at number 14, Indiana. The Hoosiers are 5.5-point favorites. This game is going to be played in Bloomington. Therefore, I'm going with the Hoosiers. Travis?
Illinois has been struggling this year. It's going to be Indiana.
You're going with Indiana as well. Number 19, Iowa State at number 12, Kansas State. The Jayhawks are 3.5-point favorites. Travis, who do you got? Iowa State.
I'm going to go Kansas State.
Kansas. I'm sorry,
But you said Jayhawks,
because I got Kansas. I'm sorry, Kansas
fried
right
my
below
brain
that.
there
So
for a second.
Iowa State, number 19, Iowa State at number 12, Kansas State. Kansas State is 3.5-point favorites. So who do you have?
I'm going Kansas State.
Okay, sorry about that. I messed you up.
Yeah, you fried my brain for a second. I smelled some smoke in my head because the gears were turning. They were just not turning over.
At some point, I had to go against you, so I'm just going to go Iowa State. The road team here. I'm going to have them beating Kansas State. Okay, number 9, Baylor at number 5, Kansas. Jayhawks here are 4.5-point favorites. Who do you got? I while you're waiting, I think I will go ahead and pick Kansas here.
You're going to go pick Kansas.
The home team.
You're going to pick I'm going to go defending national champion.
You're going Kansas, so you're going to pick with me to prevent me possibly having to make a comeback here in the last couple of weeks.
I could do that.
All right.
If I'm thinking about it.
Okay, so 3 real important games going on today, but now we move on to the fun games. UMBC at New Hampshire. Do you know what UMBC stands for?
United Methodist Baptist Christians.
So,
college. There we go.
So remember, they beat Virginia in the tournament a couple years ago, 16-1. It's University of Maryland, Baltimore County. The Golden Retrievers, or I think it's just the Retrievers, is their mascot.
The Golden Retriever. That's an excellent mascot. That's a very unique one.
But they are at New Hampshire. UMBC is 1.5-point favorites, so that pretty much means it's a toss-up. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go home team New Hampshire.
Okay, I'm gonna go with UMBC here. And our last college basketball game, Holy Cross at Colgate. Colgate is 18.5-point favorites.
Yeah, give me the toothpaste.
I will pick Colgate as well. All right, on to the NBA All-Star Game. I didn't realize until about 5 minutes ago that they have not even picked the teams for this game yet. They do that apparently Sunday before the game, which I think is ridiculous. But Team LeBron is still 3-point favorites. Whoever you pick, I'm going to pick against you. So who do you got? Team Giannis or Team LeBron? Even though we have no idea who's playing for each team.
I'm going to go with LeBron because he always picks a better team than whoever is the other captain.
So you are going Team LeBron. I'm going Team Giannis for the NBA All-Star Game. Okay, so the XFL, they begin today. 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow. Today, the Vegas Vipers travel to take on the Arlington Renegades. Arlington, 3.5-point favorites. Travis, who do you got?
Since I don't know anyone on the teams, I'm going to go home team here.
So you're going to go with Arlington. I'm going to go with the Vegas Vipers because they are coached by Pittsburgh Steelers legend Rod Woodson. So I'm going to go with the Vegas Vipers here. Second game today in the XFL, Orlando Guardians at the Houston Roughnecks. Houston is 3.5-point favorites. Give me Houston winning this one.
You're going to go Roughnecks? All right. Weren't they the worst team the last time the XFL
Actually,
was around?
they were the best team last time.
They were the best.
They were the best team.
Okay.
Which was 3 years ago, by the way.
It's been that long. I'm gonna go home team again.
Okay,
Again, another
you're gonna go
counter pick, and I'm just gonna go home team because again, don't know the rosters.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't. All right, Tomorrow, 3.5-point favorites are the St. Louis Battlehawks as they travel to San Antonio to take on the Brahmas as their mascot. They are coached by another Steelers legend, Hines Ward, as their head coach. But cacaw is the law, as they say. Give me the St. Louis Battlehawks winning this one.
Big Battlehawks guy.
You're going St. Louis as well?
I'm also going to
okay.
go St. Louis.
And the final game of the XFL tomorrow afternoon, it is the Seattle Sea Dragons at the DC Defenders. Seattle is a 1.5-point favorite. Give me DC at home.
You're going to get DC at home. You know, what's up with Seattle and having C in their mascots? Because you have the Seahawks, the Mariners, or, you know.
It has to do with the Pacific Northwest, that up in that area, I guess.
Yeah, and I know they have a big fish market up there in Seattle. So I'm going to go the Sea Dragons because I think
you're
it's cooler
going
than the Defenders.
That is a cool name. They have cool uniforms, too. All right, so that's our Terrible 10 Pick'ems for this week is college basketball, the NBA All-Star Game tomorrow, and the XFL that begins this afternoon. Well, again, Travis Carmi takes on Anna Jonesboro this afternoon at 3 o'clock, and one thing the Bulldogs cannot do, Travis, really starting today, of course, with the postseason beginning, you've got to find a way to put together 4 quarters of basketball. Throughout the year, Carmi has had rough first quarter, but they end the game pretty well. Vice versa, flip-flop. But you've got to find a way, no matter who you're playing, because really, Anna Jonesboro, they're 11-18 overall. If you beat them today, it's a lot of really good basketball teams after that.
Yeah, they're going to have to put together 4 quarters of basketball. They're going to have to knock it off. They're going to have to come out ready to play every single night. They cannot do what they've done sometimes throughout this year where it's like they get off that really hot, 10, 11-point starts, like the first 10, and then it's like, well, we're done. Game's over. And then it's just a dogfight from there because the team starts to come back, and they got to make sure they're ready to play. Anytime that ball's tipped up in the air, anytime the clock, there's time on the clock, you got to be ready to play some basketball, and you got to be engaged in the game. They can't just come out and sleepwalk through a half, because if you do, you'll be bounced very quickly out of a postseason play. So that's the one thing they have to do: just come out ready to play every single night.
Again, 3 o'clock is the tip-off today. That game can be heard right here on 97.3 WRUL or watched on the WRUL Sports YouTube channel. Carmi, 25-5 on the year. They are BDC champions, 9-1 in the conference. They finished the season 14-0 at home, and that is the first time since 1987 that they went the whole regular season without losing a game at the friendly confines of McDougall Ever Gymnasium. It's going to wrap things up for us this morning here at the downtown Carmi studio. A big thanks to J.C. Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. And again, me and Travis will talk to you today at 3 o'clock. Go Bulldogs. Have a great weekend, sports fans.